Sometimes politicians make it very easy to make fun of them, and I'm going to suggest this is one of those days. Can you really ban texting and walking on a road?
You absolutely can't ban texting while you're walking on the road.
Then how did it pass?
I think we lost our heads. We've been hearing this Coun for too long. Not all of us supported it, but it did go through. Like, what's next? Are we going to ban talking to our friends, families, or neighbors while crossing the road because that's a distraction from fully focusing yourself on crossing the road? Like, it really is ridiculous.
Is it a little Big Brother-ish? I mean,
it's a bit Big Brother-ish. I think next could be banning chewing while walking. I think most people can chew and walk at the same time, and this really is a case of get the state out of regulating those kinds of activities.
So the province is, gently suggesting, well, first of all, the province pretty much slammed this down pretty quickly and suggesting that if the city wants this, they could make it a bylaw themselves. Do you ever see a bylaw on this?
I would never see a bylaw on this ever in the city of Toronto, because once people, well, now that we're the object of mockery, and as people think through like all the things that do distract us while we're crossing the road, and our inability as government to control that, and frankly, we shouldn't even be thinking about it, I don't think this is going to see the light of day.
Okay, but seriously, how could this pass? Especially given that, first of all, would police actually police this? They don't have the resources for that. If you have bylaw inspectors, and you only have 42 to do a whole bevy of things, like, it's not even realistically possible, is it?
Absolutely, it's not. Like, just imagine all the places where people text. They could be then charged when they're walking on a street that doesn't have a sidewalk, and we have many of those kinds of streets, especially in the suburbs. You could be charged when you are crossing the street talking to a friend and you look distracted. The degree of subjectivity involved on this enforcement side alone should push us in the direction of just rejecting this proposal.
Whose idea was it?
It was Councillor Nunziata's idea. Yes.
And it passed.
And it passed, but there were some people who saw immediately that it shouldn't have passed and voted against it. Yes, I think there was a kumbaya. People were trying to support each other with regards to the Scarborough subway. And so there's a cabal of people. Well, Frances is supporting the subway, so we're going to support her motion. So it was a lot of other things that got in the way of people thinking clearly.
You mean politics got in the way of sense?
Yeah, politics got in the way of sense. And deal-making on the floor of council got in the way of saying, Frances, that's a bit crazy, and please drop it.
But don't you think everyone looks pretty silly here today?
Well, not today. Today we're debating serious issues and we're being very mature. But from time to time here, we do silly things. But we are, generally speaking, a pretty sane group of people, and sometimes we lose our heads.
Okay, because I have to say, in all the votes I've seen, that one is amongst the most boneheaded.
It would certainly be up there. I can't think of other ones that were equally boneheaded, but this is certainly one of them.